That ain't the time or the place.
No, sir.
You know what is the time and place?
What's that?
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. I fucked it up.
That's you know what? We are over 200 episodes, and you've never done that on that level before. So I think you're due one at least. Everyone,
you know
gets
who
one.
else is due one?
Who's that?
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Pixel Podcast. My name is Kevin. With me, as always, is Phil. And on today's show, we are starting Resident Evil Nemesis. That is book 5 in the Resident Evil S.T.A.R.S series. Look at that. You got it right there. I've
been making a point. They did updated covers, like the very slick, cool black and red kind of cover. I've been making a point of getting the original terrible computer graphic style illustrations.
The absolute worst. Like back when that screenshot would have been accompanied by a caption in Game Informer that says, "Look at these graphics," or something.
Right,
like that.
Exactly. I forget which one. I think it was a Final Fantasy game, and that was on the cover of GamePro or some damn thing. And the caption was, "Believe it or not, this is a game." And it blew our fucking minds apart at the time. I'm guessing it's not quite as impressive these days. I'm guessing.
No, but I still appreciate it all the same.
Oh,
you know what's funny about these books is that they were randomly available in Kindle PDF formats at different times. I found a PDF of the book, but they're not anymore. But no, well, 2 of them are. It's like number 2 and number 6 are available for Kindle, and none of the rest of them are. And
that's weird.
It is weird. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but you, the fans at home, know what the deal is with the best website in the world. That's right. It's called patreon.com/pixelitpod. We got 3 levels of support. 4 if you count supporting us for free. And guess what? Supporting us for free gets us our love for free. It also gives you free dad hugs, which is my look at this shirt.
That's wonderful. I love that. I gotta get one of those. I can wear one of those.
You can wear one of those
with impunity.
You are a dad.
I'm a dad. God damn it! I can totally do that. That's good.
You are
to know.
a dad, and Pride Month is honestly. For being straight, that is one of your favorite months. You just love.
Come on, yeah.
You love and are loved by the queer community.
If any of y'all need a dad, me and Kevin, we can
right
take
here.
care of you. We are right here.
We're right here.
Come and let us embrace you.
Let us embrace you. And this is the time of the show which I embrace our $10 supporters.
Hell yeah.
Jesus Loves You, Kyle Seaman, Ruthless Mutter, Middle of Things, Sigma Sal, Chut Beaks, Jama, Thick, and Friendly Friend. Thank you for being a friend. Patreon.com/pixelitpod. Do it today. So, yeah, we know what the deal is. This book is based on Nemesis, which is Resident Evil 3.
Yes.
Some fun facts about Resident Evil 3, Nemesis. 1, actually, if you want to know a lot about it, Monty Xander literally just dropped a video.
Oh, yeah.
A 2-hour video.
That's right. We didn't do that on purpose either.
We didn't do it on purpose, but he literally just dropped.
Woo.
Yeah, I gotta. So there was somebody doing some sort of gardening outside with one of the like gasoline powered stuff, and I went outside and I took a big whiff. I was like letting the dogs out, and since then I've just had this cough sitting in my lungs, and I don't know what the deal is. Just that diesel gasoline fumes just got in there, didn't get them out. Anyway, as I was saying, Monty Xander just dropped a 2-hour video on Resident Evil 3. It's a critique of the remake for the most part, but he gets into the whole of it. Like, where did Resident Evil 3 come from, and all that stuff. It started as a spin-off. It was not supposed to be number 3. There was a whole bunch of shenanigans. I actually did a video on it like 10 years ago, so it's
nice.
But yeah, a whole bunch of shenanigans there where it was supposed to be a spin-off, and then it became number 3, and then there was Code Veronica, and then all that stuff, and it had to do with there was Resident Evil 4 as well being pushed back and then becoming Devil May Cry. There was a lot of like renaming shenanigans that happened between 3, Code Veronica, and 4 in Resident Evil, and then it then like split off. We got a whole nother franchise in Devil May Cry popped out of that. So
exactly, and everyone's happy about it too. That's
everybody's happy about that.
Yeah.
Dante's happy. Virgil is happy. Leon, Kennedy.
Leon's real happy.
He's real happy. Yeah.
A little too happy.
Too happy. What's his deal?
I don't know. Maybe it's just that he knows that he was based on Leonardo DiCaprio and he's smug.
He's
you know what I mean?
Really smugging it up.
Smug son of a bitch. Smug zombie killing bastard.
If I'm going to be honest, Leon Kennedy, I think is hotter than Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay. Well, explain, please.
Okay.
I'm intrigued.
Leonardo DiCaprio, doesn't register to me on the hotness scale until sometime after Titanic. So
sure, he had to bulk up a little bit.
He had to bulk up, get a little age on him. Titanic Leo is like, he's still too boyish, you know?
Oh God, yes, too skinny.
You get Leo in The Departed. Now there's a Leo right there.
Oh, big time. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a very good one.
That's a good one there.
If you gotta go with a Leo.
Yeah.
Sorry, my wife is looking for the baby monitor.
I thought you were gonna say my wife is looking for the baby.
She's looking for the baby. I have no idea. It does happen every now and then that we lose the baby, but for never more than like 20-25 minutes. It's fine.
You're like, you know what? We're old school parents. We like to. It's summertime. The kid's not in school. We just put him outside in the morning, and when we trust it'll come home at dinner time.
Yeah, let him have fun.
He's 18 months old, but you know that's.
Yeah, I will say on the way home from work last week, I saw a trio of boys on bicycles, and they must have been 12, maybe 13.
Oh, those kids were getting up to shenanigans.
I was just so happy to see it. Like, you just don't see that much anymore. It's enough that it actually takes you off guard when you notice it.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just like, oh, good for you kids. Like, good. And you know what? And good for your parents.
Yeah.
More than anything.
They're going out into the woods to find a porno mag that is
probably
buried under
waterlogged as shit. And,
buried under a rock, but it's been passed down from older brother to younger brother for generations.
Yeah. No one talks about it. No one thinks too hard about touching it with your fingers.
Yeah.
You just try to move on from there. That's the best thing, really.
Yeah, it's the best thing. This book, written by S.D. Perry. Listen, this is our 50th S.D. Perry book, so I don't think we
I know, right? You know what I just found out, though? We're not going to get into her whole bio, but I don't know if I mentioned this any of the last times. I certainly don't remember. She wrote the novelization for the Uncharted movie.
Oh. That's like 5 layers deep.
Right. It's a copy of a copy of a copy. Fascinating stuff. So we might have to come to that eventually.
We'll have to dig into that. I feel like that's a level of adaptation that I would like to peek into.
And it has an audio book that's narrated by Nolan North. So
okay.
Yeah, perfect.
So Nolan North doing a Tom Holland impression, doing a Nolan North impression?
Pretty much. I have to assume that's what we're dealing with. Yes.
It's recursive.
Yeah, it has. Yeah. copy of a copy of a copy. It's beautiful.
It's
beautiful.
multiplicity. Everything comes back to Michael Keaton's multiplicity, which we never really realized was going to be this important to our worlds.
I'm still gobsmacked that is a valid reference with people. I remember watching that when it came out in the theaters, and even at that young an age, I was like, this is the last time I'm ever gonna need to worry about this movie. But people reference that movie a lot.
It was notably not well reviewed when it came out.
Right, exactly. It's like, what was the, we just watched it. What was the movie about the guy who keeps getting resurrected, the science fiction film that came out recently?
Recently. I was thinking about
something 17.
Mickey 17.
Mickey 17. That's it. Yes, Mickey 17. We watched that the other night, and I thought of multiplicity several times. There's absolutely no way that the person who wrote this didn't at one point think about multiplicity while they were writing it. There's no way.
Yeah, and it was what's his name? It was the guy from Parasite.
Yes.
Bong Joon-ho.
Not his. I'm going to argue it's not his best work.
It's definitely not his best work. I mean, you got Snowpiercer and Parasite are pretty far up there, and even The Host is actually a fun movie.
I have to watch The Host. I keep I know what it's about and everything like that. And it's one of those things where it's like, I should be watching this. I would enjoy this, right? Like, sea monster fun. Like, come on, that sounds like something I'd enjoy.
Yeah. I mean, the title is a little weird for what it is. It's, but yeah, no, Mickey 17 is definitely a movie with. There's a lot of fat on that movie.
Yeah, that was way too long.
It's like I look back, I think of it fondly after watching it. While watching it, it's like, this is long. But then I remember the individual, like some of the things that I would cut, I still enjoy in retrospect. Like, does that make sense? It's like on their own,
I think so.
They're like fun scenes, but
when you put them all together, like frankly, the last 10 minutes, that last little bit at the end that he dreams or whatever,
where he is dreaming up the wife coming back to life, and she's like, and her obsession with turning alien life forms into sauces, there were so many pieces of it that on their own, just like you said, on their own could have worked in some other format or some other thing, but for whatever reason, in my opinion, so many of them just didn't work when you put them all together. Mickey 17 to me seems like a movie that could have been just like, all right, develop it a little bit longer and turn it into a 5-part limited series.
Sure, absolutely. I think that would have been. Yeah, exactly. I think if
give it a little bit more space to breathe instead of, because it was kind of in an awkward in between state of like.
It really was.
I feel like there's more plot lines here and they're not all getting what they deserve.
No, none of them did as a result. You're absolutely right. And it shows. I think you're right. Like even a 3 or 4 episode thing where you could just expand on the world a little bit more and boom, you got a much better piece of work there.
4 episodes, just like widely ignored Gilmore Girls follow-up, A Year in the Life.
We do not talk about A Year in
We
Life.
do not talk about that.
No, that was a mistake on so many different levels. I've never been more disappointed.
And I don't think we're getting any more Gilmore Girls. So
no, I hope not. And I love that show, and I hope not. So yeah, we just leave that thing the fuck alone. How about
let's leave the girls alone? You know,
yeah, leave them alone. Leave them in their little. White people world.
Milo Ventimiglia has too many other things. He's got a Call of Duty to work on.
Who saw him being the big winner from that franchise? That dude works. It's really impressive.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? Let's go ahead and put Mickey 17's body in the marsh.
Let's do. We'll just replace him later. No big thing.
When I tell you to dump a body in the marsh, you dump him in the marsh.
Just clone him up later. All right.
Yeah.
So the book starts with a prologue from Carlos's point of view, Carlos Oliveira. He's a former mercenary. He's from where did they say he was from? Is it Ecuador or Nicaragua?
I think it was Nicaragua.
Okay, he was a mercenary down there, and you know he's done some stuff.
He's seen some things.
But he's working for a group called the UBCS now, which is the Umbrella Corporation. Why didn't I write down what the acronym stands for? Umbrella Corporation, Umbrella Biochemical Suppression, something like that. Anyway, he works for Umbrella. He's working for Umbrella's police, basically. And he's called by his boss, Mitch Harami. And maybe you know, have I heard the name Harami from before?
I thought the same thing. I'm not. I also was, it made me think of something, but I don't know what it is. When I type in Harami and look it up, nothing specifically comes up. It seems that it's pretty common. It's apparently it's a sushi term. It's like, it's a type of sushi you can get. And apparently it's also an Indian name. So they're all kinds of things. Apparently it's pretty commonly used as like a restaurant name or something like that.
Weird. Yeah.
But I'm glad you said that, because I had a very similar feeling. I was like, wait, what are we? That sounds like something we should know.
It sounds like I can hear. Why can I hear Brad Pitt's character from Inglourious Basterds saying it in my head?
Harami.
That
was Harami.
Anyway, Mitch Harami calls him. He's like, there's something going on in Raccoon City. There's a chemical spill and people are acting funky. We gotta get going. And Carlos is like, all right, let's go. He's walking over to the field office to get to the briefing, and he runs into our old friend, Trent.
Trent,
the man, the myth, the legend, Trent.
Yeah.
My favorite character created for this book, whole cloth. He's
and by the way, real quick, is this the first time, before the book even starts, is this the first time that S.T. Perry addresses the fact that she was working with, she has a quick forward where she's like, I was writing this before the game came out and this thing and that thing. And so there were liberties taken and so just roll with it.
Yeah.
Is that the first time she's done that in these? And
I honestly, I didn't see the forward, so I assume so though. I think almost everything else has been a post game release or like game is golden or something like that. Type of effort. This is the first one where she was like, the game is, and it makes sense if the game was kind of in development, because I remember in one of the other games, Jill, in one of the other books, she had written that Jill was like already out of town or something like that.
Yeah.
And she just has to kind of more or less just write that Jill's back in town or something like that.
Just go work her back in.
Because like why is Jill still in town, but everybody else left? Like, why would that make sense?
It doesn't. Yeah. She's like, she's back. She's back.
She's in town. She's in town. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, we get to chapter 1. Jill is being haunted by a recurring nightmare of the Tyrant attack from the mansion. Basically, they're firing their guns at it. Nothing's working. And eventually she's like running away, and it's just like the Tyrant's after her. And then she wakes up, and we kind of get a whole rundown of she's basically just sleeping through the Raccoon City apocalypse.
Right. Yeah.
Raccoon City has already fallen apart. Jill is just kind of hanging out in her apartment, just taking a nap because she's been going around the city, trying to find people. But yeah, it's not working. So for a while after the event in the mansion, the S.T.A.R.S team had been warning about Umbrella's secret labs. The authorities, the media, they were all dismissing them. But that's mostly because of Umbrella being able to bribe literally everyone. And I think at this point they mentioned that they just bring up Brian Irons having had a rape conviction just kind of papered over by Umbrella at this point.
Yeah, they threw that in there. It's like, oh, Jesus
Christ. Which I think is part of Resident Evil 2 is like you find out Brian Irons is a fucked up dude.
Sure. It's just not immediately where you think your horror is going to go in this particular franchise.
Right. The S.T.A.R.S team gets disbanded and Chris heads to Europe to investigate Umbrella's headquarters. And then so 5 days before the book had started, that's when the outbreak had began. And the Raccoon City Police Department had blockaded the city. Jill was trying to get help, but the police force was annihilated by September 28th. And after a failed attempt to save civilians at a high school, which is just grotesque.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just like she goes, it's like basically SD writes that Jill enters the high school and there's just dead bodies and blood and shit, literal shit everywhere. It's
pretty horrific.
It's pretty horrific. So that's when Jill is like, I'm just going to go and take a nap.
I think I'm going to have a couple of shots of NyQuil and wake up when I wake up.
Yeah. Chapter 2, we start from the point of view of Nikolai Genoviev, Nikolai.
Yeah. Nikolai.
Yeah. He is, he's not a good dude.
No.
He hates everyone. He hates his peers. He hates his superiors, including a guy named, what's the other guy's name? There's Nikolai and there is the other Russian guy. Fuck it.
Yeah, there are two Russians.
There's two Russian guys.
You think Russians would just get along? I guess
you would think. Historically, they're known for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Their togetherness.
Nikolai is part of something called Operation Watchdog, which there is like 8 watchdogs spread out throughout Umbrella's recovery operations. So there's a guy in UBCS, that's Nikolai. There's a couple scientists. There's like a cop that's involved. And each person is responsible for gathering data of the Raccoon City incident and bringing it back to Umbrella. Nikolai is like, all right, well, if I kill all the other watchdogs and take their stuff, then I'm going to have all the leverage in getting paid more. So good.
Sure. Yeah. Fair enough. That's
good for Nikolai. He probably should not have been told that there were other watchdogs.
What the fuck? Like, just don't, you're asking for trouble, like serious trouble with that shit.
Given his issues. Meanwhile, Carlos is preoccupied with Trent's bizarre warnings, and he was told by Trent to meet at Grill 13 at 7 p.m. To find out more. And then Carlos is like, I'm not a fan of this. I don't like going in blind. And then he looks at Nikolai, and Nikolai is like sitting there with a shark-like grin, like just being a lunatic. Chapter 3. Jill is trying to just get out of Raccoon City at this point. She's going through the side streets and buildings. She has decided that going through buildings actually makes the most sense because she's not like out in the open where all the zombies can see her. She runs into a building, an apartment building, and is trying to cut through when she notices that there's a gas leak. And suddenly there's a whole bunch of zombies. as she ends up getting surrounded by the zombies, she's like, fuck it. She shoots one of them, sets off the gas leak, and she is tossed from the building. This is actually where the game starts.
Right.
The game starts with Jill being thrown from this apartment building and onto the street. She continues on, and she finds she goes into a warehouse, and she finds a guy who is another survivor, and she's like, come on, we got to get out of here. Come on, guy. And he's like, yeah, with the
huh?
You just imagine the hand animation in the game of like,
yeah.
He is not a fan of her. He wants to get his daughter, and he's like, fuck you. And he locks himself into the trailer, the tractor trailer, the trailer of a truck, and is like, get out of here, go fuck yourself. And she's like, all right, bye, I guess.
Okay, I guess.
By the way, I didn't know that those locked from the inside. Do they? I don't think that's a thing.
I wouldn't know. Yeah, I'm not sure about that either.
Yeah.
But for the purposes of this adventure,
they do.
So. Yeah.
So she realizes that she's going to need a bigger gun, and she is going to go to the Bar Jack, which she remembers has a shotgun on display, which is literally the plot of what's it? The fucking zombie comedy movie. Why am I blanking?
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead, which we're just going to go have a pint and let this all blow over.
Yeah, pretty much.
But there's a gun hanging over the bar.
So good. So good.
So Carlos's platoon arrives in Raccoon City. It's about 5:00. And so they're just attacked by zombies pretty much right away. And they all line up and they start firing. Carlos is, we're from Carlos's perspective, and he's like, oh shit, these are zombies. You got to shoot him in the head. And I love this little character moment of him being like, zombies. I'm not going to beat around. It was like The Walking Dead or Walkers. He's like, no, they're zombies. We're going to shoot them in the head.
I respect the shit out of that. The decision to be like, just call it what it is. We all know what we're dealing with. He would know pop culture exists in this world.
Pop culture exists in this world. There's zombies. And be like, maybe if I shoot in the head, and he shoots one in the head and it dies. He's like, okay.
Great. We don't have time, man. Let's just get on with it. I respect the shit out of that. That's great.
Thank you, Stephanie, for writing this in here. Because I'm going to be honest, we're on the 5th book of the series.
yeah. We only got a little bit of ways to go, but at the same time, we've been at this for 4 years. So let's.
We got 2 books after this still.
Yeah. Heel toe. Come on.
Yeah. Let's go. We cut to Nikolai's point of view. He and another guy, Wierzbowski, which is an Aliens reference. Wierzbowski was one of the Marines.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my God, I can't believe that slipped past me.
Wierzbowski. Yeah. So Nikolai and John Wierzbowski are the sole survivors of Squad B. They basically both intentionally sacrifice some people in order to get away. And Nikolai has these moments. They're on the roof. They're just kind of sitting there. And Wierzbowski's like, where to next, boss? And Nikolai's like, I could use a guy like this guy. And then he just like thinks about it for a second longer. And then he goes, nah. And he shoots Wierzbowski in the stomach and then shoots him in the face.
Yeah. Just for good measure, right? Just to make sure. You got to make sure you got him right the first time. I'm not taking any chances.
Not taking any chances. Yeah. So anyway, Wierzbowski's dead. He's like, all right, I'm going to get on with the killing. And he could see Carlos from the rooftop. I believe he refers to Carlos as the Hispanic.
Yes. That, and if you're going to, that's fine. Go with that. Sure.
Go with
that's
that.
Better. Yeah.
Jill, we're in chapter 5 now. Jill makes her way to the bar jack. She's been looking for that shotgun. She gets inside and she finds good old Brad Vickers. He's the one that's a piece of shit. He's the reason why the first game happens, because he leaves them.
Right.
Like, he could have not left them and that would have been fine, but he left them.
He left them, and the consequences have gone on for 20 plus years at this point. So
there we go. Anyway, she saves Brad from a zombie. Brad is losing his mind, though. He's talking about something that's been coming for the S.T.A.R.S, and then he flees back out into the streets, panicking. Jill is like, well, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Carlos and his BFF, Randy Thomas, I forgot to mention Randy earlier. He's had a lot of character development so far. They're the only survivors from their squad, but Randy had his foot mostly bitten off by a zombie. Mostly. And he's showing signs of infection. And Carlos is like, I need a radio. So he starts looking for a radio. Randy is turning into a zombie, though, and then he ends up having to shoot Randy in the head.
Yep.
We get a lot of detail about the radios, by the way. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Yeah. We also get another, I forget if this is earlier or not, but we get another copter. We brought this up before.
Copters are back.
We get our copters.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention copters, but copters are in full effect in this book.
So good.
Copters. Apostrophe sign copter.
Copters.
A copter.
A copter. I love it. Why not?
Nikolai goes inside the Raccoon City Police Department. He finds Ted Martin, who was he was the assistant to the police chief. He was also another watchdog agent. And he finds a bunch of maps, some shotgun shells, a laptop. And as he's looking through the reports, he finds that a bunch of the other watchdog agents have already gotten killed. He goes down a manhole into a subterranean sewer system, and he starts walking around, and he finds another agent, Dr. Tomlinson, and this scene. She walks in, and he's pointing the gun at her, and she's like, "What you doing there, big boy?" And it's like she totally comes on to him, and he like thinks about it for a second.
Right. He gives it some thought. There's no question. It just like
and then he shoots her in the not in just the face, but in the mouth.
In the mouth. Yeah.
And it's just like the mess is, I forget how she wrote it. It's like the mess of blood and tissue that used to be her mouth or something like that.
It's pretty brutal. Yeah.
And then
I feel like we've amped it up violence wise.
Stephanie has really amped it up. But yeah, Nikolai then after shooting her was like, yeah, I could have used a tussle. I could have.
That would have been nice.
Would have been nice.
Yeah. Okay. We really have to focus here, people.
We have to focus here. Anyway, he gets her data disk and he's going on. Jill, meanwhile, gets to the RPD, finds, encounters a hunter, which is from the first game. I'm not sure hunters actually appear in Resident Evil 3. I can't remember, though.
I don't think so. But why not?
She opens the gates to the RPD, and Brad Vickers is like wounded and stumbling. And this is how we get our introduction to the tyrant of this game, who is just saying one word: S.T.A.R.S.
Right.
He grabs Brad by the face and sticks a tentacle through his mouth, out the back of his head. And Jill is like, oh man, he's going to bleed to death. And I'm like, Jill, honey, I don't think the blood loss is what killed him.
I don't think we have to focus on that part. I think, yeah. I think there's a lot going on here that might have more to do with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Jill runs into the police department, closing the doors behind her. The Tyrant, or Nemesis, bangs on the door for a few weak tries and then leaves her alone. I guess those are some heavy doors. I don't know.
They'd better be at that point. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. Carlos is reading up on a reporter's final entry about the city's descent into madness, and finds out, like, basically it was all a cover up. You know, that everything was falling apart. The police were complicit in the cover up, but then the police died, which is just, you know, that has nothing to do with anything that's happening right now.
Right. Nothing. Not a damn thing. We cannot compare that. We cannot / should not compare that to anything that's going on in our
to anything
world
that's happening right now in our world, with ICE agents.
Be foolish and short-sighted. Let's not
be foolish and short-sighted. God, ICE.
At least that's what a lot of people online tell me. So
ICE agents in a Resident Evil game.
Oh my God.
God damn. Can you imagine how quickly they would die?
Pretty fast, actually. They're not very good at what they do.
They're not good at what they do. They're
good enough. Yeah. They're good enough to fuck up people's lives, but not to. They're not exactly a fighting force at the same time.
I saw somebody post on Blue Sky. We're like, yeah, I'm working my my dream job. I'm wearing a tactical vest that's 2 sizes too small.
Right. Right. It is just kind of like the militia fanatics' dream job is really what it comes down to. It's a bunch of fucking LARPers.
Fuck them. ICE should be disbanded. I mean,
I would like to see that.
You know what's older than ICE? The Resident Evil franchise is older than ICE.
And a hell of a lot more fun. Yeah.
If you are a member of ICE and a Pixel-It listener, I don't know how you happened to fall into that combination with your life, but
I have no idea how that works.
Reconsider something. If you can't reconsider the ICE, reconsider your fandom.
Right, yeah.
You are not welcome.
Let's just put it this: we don't need you.
We don't need you.
That's fine. Yeah.
So Carlos has to kill Randy, and then he's got the radio, and he's like, "There's only static." And then he's like, "Oh, I got to go to Grill 13 because Trent told me to go there." Jill is in the S.T.A.R.S office, hears Carlos through the radio, but can't respond. She uses her Master of Unlocking skills and opens the gun safe and gets Barry Burton's Colt Python 357 Magnum and ammunition.
Beautiful.
At this point, she decides to call the Tyrant her Nemesis.
Fine. You know what? Fine.
And let's see, chapter 8. Let's see. Carlos is continuing on. He's lost Randy. He's going to Grill 13. He's brutally attacked by a fast bioweapon. It's like an insect. I don't remember what this is referring to, but it's got like 6 bladed legs or something like that. He takes care of it. Way too much ammo he wastes on it. He basically it's dead, and he just puts the full clip in anyway.
Yeah, that's when the actual Resident Evil gamer in you goes, that's not gonna work out for you.
That's not gonna work out for you.
That was a bad call.
Trent, he makes it to Grill 13 though, and where he receives a call from Trent, and he's like, Carlos is like, hey, buddy, you're going to get me out of here, right? And Trent is like, oh, no, I'm not going to get you out of here. Sorry. And things are going to get worse. But here's some things that could help you survive. But surviving is really up to you.
Yeah. I could give you everything you need, but that's, you know what? It's motivation to do well. Yeah. How about that? So keep your head on a swivel, kid.
Keep your head on a swivel, kid. Carlos, so Trent basically gives him the lowdown that Umbrella created the T-virus for bioweapons and then sent the UBCS into the disaster as more or less a test. And then Trent is like, you're going to need a couple of fake jewels to get into a thing. And then here's where the helicopters are. Here's a vaccine sample. And Carlos is like, all right, that's fine. He goes to the basement door of the restaurant that he's in. And that's when enter Jill Valentine. She is pointing her 357 at him. And they're like, I'm Carlos, I'm sexy. And Jill is like, I'm Jill and I'm hot. And then it's like, I consent. Is there someone you forgot to ask? S.T.A.R.S.
Right.
Here comes Nemesis.
Oh, no. Here he comes.
So we, Jill, prior to this, had discovered police reports detail the two fake gems that I forgot to mention, the two fake gems that Carlos had heard about. Jill had already seen something about that in police reports written by Marvin Branagh in another another scene. So yeah, Nemesis is forcing them, and they gotta go. And that's the end of where we're leaving it off right now. Is them being chased by Nemesis. So Phil, how are you feeling so far?
I mean, it's another one of the Resident Evil books. I think this one really kind of kicks it into high gear a lot faster than the other ones did. Yeah, I feel like we didn't have to wait around at all for the action to get started, and as a result, it feels a little frantic sometimes. But overall, still a pretty solid, just fun, breezy little read. So yeah, I got no real complaints.
Yeah, I mean it's you can tell in the novelization it's a story that was kind of like backed into by some weird game development stuff.
right, very much so. Yeah, you can read that loud and clear.
But yeah, I like it. I like the fact that it's basically continuing. She's continuing what she did in the other books, which is like there's always a villain point of view character in her books, and in this one it's Nikolai, and we're split between Carlos and Jill in here. I feel like it reminds me how the remake. I think I understand why the Resident Evil 3 remake was such a disappointment, is because there was a chance to be like, okay, we can actually expand it a little bit. But instead it ended up cutting some things. Which is weird. But yeah, breezy read. It's there's a lot more action, whereas I think in the other ones, some of the action felt weightier. Like,
yes, yeah, there was a lot more intrigue, and so when shit hit the fan, it stood out a little more.
Right now, the shit has hit the fan. Now there's another load of shit coming towards the fan.
Right.
So everybody's covered in shit, and they're going to be covered in more shit. It's basically like the end of the what's that Margaret Qualley movie?
The Substance.
It's the end of The Substance, but instead of blood, it's shit.
It's just shit. Yeah, just everyone's covered in shit.
Would have been the trauma version of that movie.
I mean, yeah, that's in the works if it wasn't already. They should have had it done by now.
Honestly, the fact that they were beaten to that just shows that Troma's lost a step.
Not the team they used to be.
Actually, I don't know. I have not watched a Troma movie in 20 years.
I kid, but no, I don't know. I really don't know the first thing about Troma movies. I know a little bit, but
I know. I mean, in college, I did my fair share of edgelord Troma watching.
Sure.
But after that, you're like, this is. I'm not enjoying this. We're good.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah. You just hit that point where transgressive stops being interesting and starts being like, my stomach is aching a little bit.
Ain't that a bitch when you're like, I don't care, guys.
I don't care. You ran the baby over with steamroller and the head popped off and the brain landed in the mother's mouth and then I don't know, an anvil dropped on her. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
It just doesn't quite resonate in the same way it used to. But we've seen these things. That's why it's a young man's game being edgy.
It's a young man's, it's why Lloyd Kaufman is still alive. He's still alive,
exactly.
Right?
That's the only thing. Yeah, I think so. He should be. Well, now I got to check. Yep.
Yeah, he's still alive.
Yeah, he's still alive. There, look at that. Look at that crazy nut job.
Yeah.
79. Damn.
79. I thought he was older.
A lot of people did, it looks like. Yeah.
Well, with that being said, Phil, what are you playing?
I am still playing Clair Obscur. I just got into the end of Act 2, where there are the 3 big bads you've got to go defeat. I just finished the first one, the mask guy, the Master of Masks. I have fallen completely in love with Minoko. He is my favorite character. Will die for Minoko. He is part of my main lineup now from here on out. Sure. I was like, I don't care what his shtick is. I will learn to play it because I adore this guy. I love him. And it just so turns out that I love his wheel of powers and shape-shifting thing, which is just super fun. Really enjoying the game. The balance of crazy tragic emotions and over the top silly French humor. What kind of a game wells me up several times throughout gameplay and then has me fight a killer mime to unlock customizable haircuts and shit like that. That's nuts. It shouldn't work. It shouldn't work, but it does. It does. It's such a labor of love. I'm really glad that it's getting the attention it's getting. I'm really glad that it exists. Period. It's terrific. It's a really nice game. I'm really enjoying it. I've also played a couple of demos. Big shocker there. I played After Inc. Revival.
Because Next Fest as of recording, and that's that is peak time for Phil.
Exactly. That's when we're really just working on it here. After Inc. is done by the people who did Plague Inc. from way back when.
Yeah.
Basically it's a city builder. It's a 4X settlement builder. Basically, it's like what happens after the events of Plague Inc. and everything's gone to shit. It's clever. I tried playing Plague Inc. again, I want to say last year at some point, and it just hasn't aged well. It's just not, it doesn't hold you the way it used to. The novelty is kind of gone.
Sure.
This is actually a very impressive direction that they're taking it in. It has a lot of the stuff that the first game that Plague Inc. had that connects the two, like the bubbles and stuff like that. but the gameplay is a little more complex. It's a little more interesting. And if you like city builders, there's a lot of really good stuff there. Like you'd expect with it's zombies, duh. So there's not a lot of new and original ideas in here, but it is very enjoyable. And the demo's huge. I think what's interesting about it, I don't know if this is how the full game works, but it's like it's kind of like the Jurassic Park strategy game that came out, where you're like kind of popping from one area to another and solving their problems. It kind of in a campaign fashion. It's not just build up your one thing and see how big you can make it, although I'm sure that's an option in the game too. And they have a lot. I was expecting like 1 or 2 levels. They have a lot in this demo. It's pretty impressive. I've played 2 hours of it and I haven't repeated anything. So it's a very generous demo, let's say. The game is out, I believe. It came out, isn't it? Let me see. No, the game, well, you know what? By the time this episode comes out, the game will have just come out. Okay. It's very interesting. I think it's worth a play. It's very cool. The other one that I played was the demo for Dispatch. This is a game that's done by a lot of ex-Telltale developers. Okay. It's basically the plot line is you are an ex-superhero who basically, you were an Iron Man style character. You had a mech or something like that, and it's destroyed. And so you're still working in the superhero world, but you work for essentially the Dispatch for like the superhero whatevers. And it's beautifully animated. The voice acting is really, really good. And it's really, really funny so far from what I've played of it. The demo took me about 40 minutes to get through. But the thing was, ultimately, at first, I'm done with Telltale. They're gone, and that's very sad. And the stuff that they made was unique for what they did. But I don't need any more Telltale. So when I first started playing it, and it was like, someone says something and you have a little timer and you've got to pick your response and choices matter and all that shit. I just kind of went, I don't know, man. I don't know if I don't know if I want to play one of these again. Fortunately, it has a gameplay aspect between these moments where it's the Dispatch and you have a team of, I want to say, 6 superheroes. They all have different specialties. They all have different abilities, and you get contacted by so-and-so, my kitten's up a tree or whatever like that. Right. So you're like, okay, this guy can fly. I'm sending him over there to take care of the tree and the cat. And so it goes over and it's on a timer. So after they come back, they can rest. And it's just you doing, project management of like, who am I sending here? Who am I sending there? Who will do the best job? While these people are in your ear. And they're really sarcastic and very funny. The writing is outstanding. It's very, very, very good stuff.
So it's more than the Telltale, like...
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
It's and which I think it needed. It wouldn't have been enough on its own, at least to interest me. I was never, what do you call it? A visual novel guy, and that's and Telltale games in many cases were just kind of an amped up version of those. After I played the first Walking Dead game and some of the other ones, I was just like, okay, we're good. I get it. But this has a gameplay loop that's more strategy based. You can upgrade your heroes. They gain experience, and you can make certain stats higher. It's pretty cool. I believe this one is also not out yet. It's coming out in... Oh, wait. No, it is out. No. This is the demo. They haven't announced the date yet as far as...
This is the demo that I just played.
Yeah, exactly. It's coming out sometime this year, as far as we can tell. And again, really worth playing. It took me less than an hour to play it.
One of the heroes... looks like the tiefling from Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, totally. And she's excellent. I refuse to believe that she isn't somewhat based on her. I mean, I'm sure they had to work on this for a long time. It can't quite work. The heroes are all really neat. They've all got abilities that sometimes you wouldn't expect them to have. I think my favorite one is Golem, who is a construct. Who is just, made out of clay and machinery and stuff like that, and yet is still a sarcastic, funny son of a bitch. It's pretty great. Again, super worth playing just to get a taste of what they're going to offer later on. That Dispatch, highly recommended. Kevin, what about you? What are you playing?
I am playing, let's see. Right now, I'm playing Labyrinth of the Demon King. So, if you are like me, a sicko for some PS1 stuff, Labyrinth of the Demon King might be right up your alley. It is basically think of it's like Kingsfield with a bit of Resident Evil in there. You play as a samurai. It's feudal Japan. You're not really sure what's going on in terms of why you're there, but you're there to dispatch of the Demon King, and you show up in his realm with nothing but your armor and your sword, which has been broken in half. And you arrive, and you're told that you need to go through the 4 towers and defeat the wardens of the 4 towers in order to access the Demon King. It's a spooky dungeon crawl hack and slash game. It's got stamina, so you got some Dark Souls stamina management in there. But then there's a lot of item puzzles where it's like, you have to read the document and figure out which items you're using. I'm having a blast with it so far. And it's got cool monster designs and all that. It's one of those games that's weird because you look at it, the screenshots, it doesn't photograph particularly well. It looks better in motion than it does in the stills.
It's got that good PS1 muddiness.
It's got that good PS1 muddiness to it, baby. It looks like it's been drawn. You painted. You gave Bob Ross some paint, but it was all mud, and he just had to make a landscape painting out of that. One of my favorite things is your the people there's random people that help you. One's a little cat demon person who the first thing she does is like, if you could go downstairs and grab the Buddha statue out of this cabinet for me, I'll help you out with something. You go down and you grab the Buddha statue, and that summons a demon who then begins chasing you around, and the demon can spawn from any blood puddle that's been left on the floor.
Jesus Christ.
And you can't kill it. You can't kill it. If you do it enough damage, it stops for a little bit, but that's about it. So that's the first thing. And then she's like, "Oh, great, you got me the Buddha statue. I'll sell you items now." I'm like,
cool.
Thank you. Cool.
Thanks.
And then she's like, there's a demon in the kitchen that I've been saving because I like eating demon skin. So don't let him out because I'm really savoring him. And you go down to the kitchen. When you unlock him and let him out, you find out that he's her husband.
Of course. Yeah, good.
And he's just this little demon. They call him Kappas. He's a short little dude, and he's a blacksmith, and he upgrades your weapons.
Aren't the Kappas like the turtle demons or something like that? Or I think it's
probably something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Looks like mud. Very slow to play, but you kind of get used to it. I think I'm most of the way through it at this point. if I'm judging by my achievements, I've unlocked 21 out of 27. So
yeah, that sounds like you're getting there at the end.
Yeah, and I've beaten several bosses, which are the bosses can be a little bit tricky. So that's one of the things I've been playing. The other thing I have been playing at night while I just kind of chill out is House Flipper 2, which is, just me and my bullshit. I beat Power Washing Simulator all the way through. Like, I've beaten every level on that, and I needed something else. All the DLC. I cleaned the Lehman Russ tanks in the Warhammer DLC. I did it all. So until Power Wash Simulator 2 comes out, I needed something for my fix, so I'm playing House Flipper 2 as my nighttime sitting and listening to TV game. So
nice.
Yeah.
I can see where that would scratch the same itch.
Yeah, it kind of scratches the same itch. It's close enough,
Right. It'll do the trick.
It'll do the trick.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. That's it for tonight, and that's all we got. Thank you all so much for listening. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Come by our Discord. Come by Blue Sky. Follow us there. Hopping on the Discord's always great. Join the conversation. This week I'll ask Phil first. So when you're broiling demons in you got a Dutch oven, right? And you got some demon flesh in there. But you're trying to cover up the sound of it screaming in Infernal, because it's never really dead. No. How do you cover that sound up, especially for the dogs, because the dog ears are more sensitive to the high pitched wailing? What would you say I should do for that?
When it comes to dogs, I think especially with the smaller breeds, if you've got classic demon, you take its horns, and it's not going to need those. You're going to be boiling it, right? Yeah. So you get the horns off, you go up to the dog, and you make sure just to gently slide them in